Hello, everyone. My name is Iman Wilkinson. I am the Assistant Director for the Office of Recruitment and Admissions here at the College of Visual and Performing Arts. We are so happy to see you all tonight, and now I'll have my ambassadors introduce themselves.
Hello, I am Ajani Collins. I am a senior majoring in communication and rhetorical studies with a minor in dance.
Hi everyone, my name is Margot Moran. I'm a junior majoring in communications and rhetorical studies and political science.
Hi everybody, I'm Georgie. I'm also a senior majoring in communications and rhetorical studies with a minor in visual culture.
Thank you guys for introducing yourselves. Now we're just here to talk to you a little bit about the Communication and Rhetorical Studies program. But I do want to start you off with just some general background about Syracuse University. So you may have heard that Syracuse University is a medium to large institution with about 20,000 students total. Here at VPA, we are one of the 9 undergraduate colleges making up Syracuse University. And we have about 2,000 students total, just to give you an idea of how small it gets once you get to your actual college. So we're just like a small, tight-knit family here within VPA. And I would like to say that Syracuse University is located in upstate New York, or central New York, as they like to call it here. We do get all 4 changing seasons, and the winter does keep us on our toes just a bit. But I want to bring attention to some of the pictures that you see here. You'll see a rock climbing wall, some gym equipment. Those pictures were taken at the Barnes Center, and the Barnes Center is the one-stop shop for all health and wellness here on campus. And then just a general overview of campus, we have over 300 clubs and student orgs here at Syracuse. We have a Milk and Cookies Club, just to give you an idea of actually how many clubs we have. And then we are D1 in athletics, so Division I. So our students do enjoy going over to the dome to watch a football or basketball game. And I always like to highlight the marching band. So marching band is a pretty unique experience here on campus. They get to travel with our athletics teams to their bowl games. And you don't even have to know how to play an instrument to join marching band. So I always do like to give them just a little bit of a nod. So there's always going to be something for you to get involved in on campus, whether it be visiting artists, lecture series, concerts, always something to do while you're here on campus. Just a little bit of background about the university. So what is Communication and Rhetorical Studies, or CRS as we like to refer to it here on campus, or the hidden gem as we also like to call it. But it's a Bachelor of Science degree that covers all forms of human communication. So the number 1 requirement that all employers are seeking are communication skills. So CRS will pose the question that while we all communicate as humans, are we communicating effectively? So our students within the program are learning how to communicate clearly, effectively, and persuasively, which means that, excuse me, that their voices will be heard and they will make a difference in the field that they end up in. So some of your core classes will include presentational speaking, rhetoric, public advocacy, critical thinking, writing, basically the foundation of communication. You will also enjoy a flexible curriculum, which will allow you to pursue multiple interests while you're here on campus, such as a double major. I will definitely get into some of the double majoring and even double minoring if that's something you're interested in doing. So our CRS students have the opportunity to pursue their passions for communication across campus and throughout the world. So some of our students have interned at different places like record labels, magazines, news stations, political campaigns, just to name a few. And traveling abroad, all of our study abroad opportunities are pretty cool as well, because I would say the national average of students that actually study abroad is about 10%. Whereas here at VPA, we have about 45 to 50% of our students who actually do study abroad. And CRS being so flexible, meaning that our students can study abroad at any one of our 5 Syracuse World Centers. So they'll be taking their elective credits while they're abroad, and they still get to fit it in within the 4 years. We also have a week-long semester. It's called a Maymester, week-long kind of immersion trip within Washington, D.C. that a lot of our CRS students will also partake in. Where I know a few years ago, the group that went, it was a pretty special opportunity, but they got to meet and work with Obama's speechwriter. So President Obama's speechwriter, that was a pretty cool opportunity for them. But being a CRS student, you do have the flexibility to kind of study abroad at any one of our centers and do any one of our immersions. I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but I'm also an alumna of Syracuse and of the CRS program. And while I was on campus, I did a week in Costa Rica. So pretty much what you want out of your global opportunity and your global experience here on campus, you can definitely make it happen. So let's talk a little bit about some of our CRS alums and where they end up. Just because CRS is so versatile, we have alumni all over the world and in so many different career paths. The first person that I want to highlight, her name is Emmy. She is a plus-size supermodel. So Emmy is also responsible for starting the Fashion Without Limits here on campus for our students within the School of Design. So Fashion Without Limits was really started to promote the design in sizes 12 and up, and it's a part of the curriculum for our students within the School of Design. So we were one of the first schools to actually have it as a part of the curriculum that our students have to work on these pieces in sizes 12 and up. So they're well-rounded within design, and we have Emmy to thank for that. And then we also have Kevin Kern. He is the manager of research at Walt Disney Archives, and he also just co-authors the book forthcoming, a portrait of Walt Disney World, 50 years of the most magical place on earth. And then we also have Evan Robinson. He is also the co-founder and president of New York on Tech, which is a nonprofit organization that brings technology to underrepresented students in New York City. And we have a couple of other alumni that Nikki Mayo, she's a journalist. And then we have Springer, who is the communications officer for the Bill Gates and Melinda Gates Foundation. So as you can see, our alumni, they end up in very diverse places, as well as you just never know where they're gonna end up. Now let's hear from some of our current students about how they are using CRS on campus. We'll start off with Ajanique.
So as a CRS student, one of my favorite classes was interviewing, where I was able to establish my own brand and just understand what my path was in the world. And as Iman talked about earlier, there's a lot of flexibility with CRS, and I've been able to pair my CRS classes with my Women and Gender Studies classes, my African American Studies classes, to forge my own unique path to what I want to study, and which is helping me in my future endeavors, which is applying to grad school, where I'm hoping to study Black feminism and the nonverbal cues within Black feminism as well. These classes have also helped me in my clubs. I am the president and musical director of Creations Dance Company on campus, and I had to figure out how to be a leader. I had to, small group communication was one of those classes where I learned my leadership skills, and a lot of these classes really helped me along the way, and I'm sure that they will help you.
So I have had the experience of not only being a CRS major, but also being a political science major. In that track, I am concentrating in race, gender, and class, which I've been able to supplement with really incredible CRS classes, including the rhetoric of social movements, which I took with Dr. Phi, which is basically an analysis of when a social movement takes place, the rhetoric that shapes it, the narrative that shapes it, and how the rhetoric surrounding a movement ends up impacting how the movement is remembered and what the movement does. And in terms of remembering things, I also took rhetoric of public memory with Dr. Kendall Phillips, who is a personal favorite professor of mine. I recommend anyone who gets a chance to take a class with him, most certainly do. He taught us about the idea of collectively remembering tragedies, big moments in history. We discussed a lot about eulogizing and how the rhetoric surrounding an event that we as a society experience as a mass culture affects the memory of that event. So I have done a little bit of everything. I will be interning for Dr. Phillips on his podcast, Pop Life with NPR. So that's another wonderful opportunity that I've gained from CRS. Yeah, I could go on all day about the really unique things that I've gotten from CRS because I'm a junior. I'm not 100% sure what post-grad is going to look like for me quite yet. And CRS has made me feel a little calmer in that because I've been able to shape my curriculum and my future, past and present, to exactly what I needed to be in that moment.
It is definitely also, I've been able to adapt my CRS major to what interests me and what I'm planning for post-graduation, which obviously all three of us are going on different tracks. So right now, I'm hoping to go into the entertainment industry, working on movies or TV shows in production. And so I've taken a lot of CRS classes that are oriented around media, and there's a class called Remix Culture. That was really cool. I took a media and technology class, so learning about what the role of technology plays. I was able to also take one that was based around the 2020 election, which was really cool. I think my two most memorable classes that I've taken is presentational speaking, which obviously made me really comfortable in doing public speaking because as a college student, you have to do a lot of that and give a lot of presentations in CRS. So it made me comfortable with my skills in that. And then also introduction to argumentation, where I was able to learn how to build a stronger argument and how to get my point across in a room, which I think is really important for when you're pitching ideas to people, because you want them to get on the same page as you. So I think those are my two classes that I found really useful.
Thank you all for sharing with us. Let's see if we have any questions while I pull up the questions in the chat area. I would love to say if you guys want to follow us on social medias, that is a definitely great step to take, especially on our Instagram, because I know we do a lot of the day in the life. So you can see what it's actually like to be a college student and more specifically, a CRS student here on campus. So I think I saw Margot, was that you? Were you on our Insta? Can you tell us a little bit about that day while I pull up the questions?
Yeah, so a social media intern for VPA came in. I'm a work study in the VPA Office of Admissions, so I hang out there Mondays and Wednesdays, and an intern came in and asked me to take her through a day in my life as a CRS student for a TikTok. And my spoiler alert, my days are not that interesting, so I combined a few days and I took her through every class that I attend and took her to the building, took her to the classroom, talked a little about the classes. So if you want to get a sense of what more realistically a week in the life of a CRS major, especially one that is double majoring, could look like, I recommend it. I happen to be wearing a very cute outfit that day, so I will always plug this TikTok. Please check it out.
That is hilarious. We actually have a couple of questions in the queue, and one of them is, how do you pursue a double major with CRS? Now, I can kind of talk about it from the technical standpoint, but Margot, do you want to take a crack at it first?
Definitely. So CRS is the perfect major for double majoring because so many of the requirements for fulfilling your credits are classes outside of the major, liberal arts, arts and sciences credits, which obviously as a political science major, that is perfect. I really haven't seen an increased workload, particularly since I've picked up the second major, and I will still be graduating in the expected 4 years as of right now, which is super awesome. So it hasn't been a super crazy thing because my CRS classes and my poli-sci classes complement each other so nicely. I'm learning about similar stuff, but from different angles, which is, I think, the best possible thing you can ask for in a double major. So I highly recommend CRS as a double major because it has been such a cool supplement to the poli-sci, while the poli-sci is also a cool supplement to the CRS. They work really well together, and it's been very possible time management wise.
Then how about Georgie? You have anything to add to kind of double majoring or minoring on campus, either Georgie or Angelique?
Yeah, I am not a double major, but I do have a minor that I picked up, and it was just to kind of broaden my horizons of what to take, and just being able to take other classes that could count towards a degree for me. So I'm really enjoying it. I actually just started my minor, so I can't talk too much about it, but I've really enjoyed it so far.
Yeah, definitely. I have a minor in the School of Education. So you don't have to minor within BPA. You can definitely major or minor outside of it. And my minor credits have turned into just like my arts and science credits and my elective credits. So, I was able to get that done. I picked up my minor my sophomore year. So pretty much almost done with that. So definitely pick up a minor and pick up a double major if you feel that you want to do that, and that CRS will aid in whatever you choose.
Kind of a technical background, you want to apply to CRS directly as a major when you're coming in, and how the double major aspect works is that you'll work with your academic advisor, because all of our students within the College of Visual and Performing Arts will receive an academic advisor, career advisor, and a faculty advisor. So it is a three-pronged support system while you're here on campus. So if you have any questions about classes, double majoring, internships, you have an office that is working with you, working very hard to provide these opportunities to you. So like I said, you'll come in with the CRS major, you'll talk with your academic advisor, letting them know what other major you are possibly thinking about double majoring with. And they'll usually suggest that you take the kind of like intro class to that major, even if it's a minor as well. They'll have you take the intro class so that you see if you like it, see if you do well, and then you can go ahead and fill out the necessary paperwork to actually go ahead and add on that double major. And the cool thing about CRS is that it really only has 4 required classes within communication and rhetorical studies. And then you get your CRS electives, and then you get your kind of academic electives. So the good thing is you're already taking some of those classes. So what happens is if you're thinking about double major, you just go in and kind of fine tune the actual double major and then take on the additional classes needed to finish that double major. So it's basically, it's laid out for you in what direction you want to go in. So another question we have is, how is mental health handled on campus? Is it something that's important to faculty and students on campus? And I'm going to have my ambassadors take a stab at answering that. But the first thing that I want to point out is that we do have the Barn Center, where we do have our health professionals there. So if you have any questions about mental health, you definitely can utilize the Barn Center. So that is one resource that the campus offers for all of our students. And mental health is really important to us here at Syracuse as well. And I'll have some of the ambassadors talk about it. How do you handle mental health on campus? And if this is something you come in contact with, how do your professors handle it? Angelique, go ahead.
So for me personally, I like to take breaks, well-needed breaks. As far as the professors, if you communicate with them ahead of time, they are very gracious. As long as you tell them, I need a minute, I'm kind of balancing a lot. Can I have an extension, or can I do this some other time? They, in my experience, my professors have understood and given me the space to take care of my mental health while also getting my work done. Mental health is pretty serious on campus for us. Like Iman said, the Barn Center is open, and also just forging that relationship with your professors and just communicating with them as well. So.
I've been very open about my personal struggles with mental health, and I've had a really positive experience in CRS with my professors being understanding that I am a human being. I am not an academic robot. I'm not a machine. There is only so much that I can do, and sometimes they always understand that there is a limit to what I can do. I have had the cool opportunity of kind of seeing how my political science professors handle mental health issues and how my CRS professors handle mental health issues. And I have been endlessly impressed by the CRS professors in their understanding of it, because the difference is not only will they say, thank you for communicating with me, you can have the extension, you can have help with the assignment or whatever you're asking for. They will also offer you resources and be a resource themselves for you to get through whatever you are getting through. So I have been really lucky with the professors I've had. Obviously, I haven't had every professor in the program, but the ones that I have had have been not only incredibly understanding, but epic resources for mental health issues.
For me, I've always also struggled with my mental health. It actually didn't take me till my freshman year here to actually do something about it. So I was able to use the resources on campus at the Barnes Center to get me therapy and psychiatry. And I also was able to get myself accommodations for classes, which was really helpful. And it's been very helpful for me to have those. And yeah, I mean, going off of what the two of them just said, CRS professors have been the most understanding people, I think, on campus for me. And they've always told me, to put myself first, to not worry about this, that, my mental health should be my first priority. And it has been extremely helpful in, my recovery, of knowing that if I need a little bit of a break, that I have CRS professors there to support me, and also as a support system outside of class. And, as Margot just said, leading me to resources and what I can do. But I feel like campus as a whole has been really great about it. We have peer educators who have this like health hub around campus, and they'll, promote different things and give out stress kits. And I think campus is really good about mental health and promoting it and making sure that people are aware that it's okay to struggle and that there's resources available for them.
The next question we have is, what is the workload like as a college student? We have someone in the audience that says that their teachers are kind of scaring them, saying that it's going to be next level and it's going to be a lot to deal with. Can you guys talk a little bit about your workload and how you come to balance it as a student here on campus? Because I know as a freshman, it can be kind of overwhelming. You don't know what to expect and how to navigate campus, because it's a lot of time your first time away from home and you don't know how to really navigate it. So how have you all worked through this? Have Margot go first.
Sure. So I was definitely worried about this in high school. I think a lot of high school teachers push this idea of like, whatever you're doing in high school, this won't fly in college. Realistically, my college professors have actually been much more understanding human beings than any of my high school teachers. So I would not necessarily let the idea that your high school teachers might be giving you about college, don't lose sleep over it, because also who knows where they went to college. Everyone's college experience is different. Who knows what they majored in? With the CRS and the workload, it is very manageable as long as you get writing into your brain. That is the one thing that I recommend. You need to learn to sit down and churn out some awesome writing. And if you're in this program, like, you can do that. That's what your brain is awesome at. So it's fun, and you just have to kind of get used to putting out a lot of content in that way. But I liked that. I didn't really want to go into a program where I would be taking a lot of sit down exams or doing worksheet. I don't really know what STEM majors do for homework problem sets. I didn't really want to go into doing something like that. I wanted to go into something where I could just like sit down and write all of my feelings about how I would diagnose Sherlock Holmes' mental illness for like 10 pages. Like, that's what I wanted. So it is a lot of pages, but the pages are so fun a lot of the time. And as we've said, your professors are understanding. They understand that you are taking more classes than just theirs. So if at any point it gets to be too much, there are lifelines. You can reach out and get help. So I wish I could say that I have become a planner person. I try every semester to become a planner person, but I'm living proof that you can survive without a planner, although I do recommend them. Yeah, bottom line, it is manageable. You just have to learn how to churn out content, which you will.
Anyone else want to?
I can go. Unlike what Margot said, I have found that Google Calendar and my planner have become my best friend and like literally a part of me. My life is in my Google Calendar. At the beginning of every semester, I look through all my all my syllabuses, and I highlight due dates. I put them into my Google Calendar, and it helps with me who's like very unorganized. It allows me to organize myself really well. And I think the workload is very manageable too. As Margot said, they really give you free range on papers, which I really enjoy. I'm not the type that likes to necessarily do papers based on a specific topic. I like when it's very broad and I could kind of take it how I want to. And, I definitely think, giving presentations is a big part of CRS, and it is, again, something I've become very comfortable with and I really enjoy. So yeah, the workload is definitely very manageable, but you have to put in a lot of effort to make sure that you're getting those assignments done and you're using your time wisely.
One thing that I want to say that I learned, the plural for the syllabus, the word syllabus, is syllabi. I didn't know until someone told me to do, so now you know. Let's see, we have one other question and then we'll kind of wrap it up. But the question is about internships. Have any of you done any internships on campus? And then the other question is, how would you kind of combine film and CRS? And I know a couple of you have taken some film classes within CRS, so I do want you guys to expand upon that, but we'll answer the first questions on internships. And if you had an internship on campus, let's hear about it.
I did have an internship kind of on campus. I did the SU has a Los Angeles semester. They have like an office space in Los Angeles, which unfortunately I had to do remote, but I got a really good experience out of it. Part of the curriculum there is to have an internship. And it's great because there's so many Syracuse alumni that you're able to reach out to and hopefully get an internship with. And I was able to get an internship with the help of the school at a nonprofit called Global Inheritance. And they do a lot of like art displays and trying to promote, environmental and climate change and the impact on on Earth and all that. And I was running their social media, but also doing other things outside of that. And I felt that, Syracuse definitely and CRS prepared me for the internship, and I was able to do a lot that I probably wouldn't have been able to do outside of it. Yeah. And then relation to film, since I want to go into film, I've been able to take a lot of classes outside of BPA that deal with film. So classes in Newhouse, my Los Angeles semester, I was able to take lots of, entertainment industry classes with people who are in the workforce right now, which was really cool. So hearing their experience firsthand, getting to meet people, which was also really awesome that are in the industry, because networking also will be your best friend. I've learned to just network and make sure I'm staying in touch with those people and writing down their contact. So yeah.
Margot, go ahead.
Yeah, my probably most CRS related and closest to my heart experience was not technically an internship. It was involvement in the student organization, but I'm the current head arts and culture editor for Jerk Magazine, which is an entirely student-run magazine on campus. And it covers all kinds of issues. It has a feature section, opinion section, a front of book of fashion section, and I oversee the noise section, which is arts and culture. And that has been so integral with my CRS education in terms of not only learning to write these articles, but learning what kind of ideas to pitch, what kind of things people are interested in reading, which pitches to approve, how to sit down with an article and understand how to edit it, and like how to edit for more than just grammar, how to edit for content and for use of rhetoric. So that has been not an internship, but an experience that I think I could not have had without CRS. And as I said, I am about to start my very first internship this spring semester. I'm going to be interning on Pop Life, which is an NPR podcast hosted by Professor Kendall Phillips. And for that, I'm going to be rustling up guests with all kinds of crazy niches of knowledge. I know he brought in an economics professor to teach him about NFTs a few episodes ago. So I'm just gonna think about things that I want to hear about and then find an expert and then send the expert a Zoom link, basically. So very excited about that. And obviously that is with a CRS professor and a very CRS oriented idea. So I would not be there without CRS. So I'm applying right now for summer internships. I'm hoping to be working at a magazine this summer, which obviously is giving CRS as well. So yeah, that's me.
Tell, but I was doing some snaps on the internships. Yes. So another thing that I want to add is that, of course, all of our students will work with our career advisors to help them find internships as well. So we do have that professional development in-house, and we always encourage our students to utilize the career advisors, not just in your junior and senior year, but really early on, so that you can take a look at your resume and developing language that's attractive to the industry that you want to get into. But you can work with our office to find internships and, of course, postgraduate opportunities as well. We do have an amazing alumni network, especially really strong in LA, where our alumni network, they're specifically seeking out our students because they know the type of education and the caliber of education that our students are receiving while they're here on campus. And the SU alumni network is very far and reaching. So anywhere around the globe, I can guarantee you we have someone that's an alum of Syracuse and they bleed orange for the rest of their life. So you definitely don't have to worry about that. And then the last thing that I want to kind of, I actually want to ask Margot about the film class that you're taking with Professor Phillips. Can you talk a little bit about that, about the film and horror, I think it is, because I think that's so cool that we actually have a film class within CRS. So give us a little bit about what you've been learning this semester.
Yeah, so I can talk a little about it, and then I do want to call Georgie in because she's also in my class. So I want to hear about her experiences as a senior and as a person more focused on film as well. But I love that class, probably my favorite one I'm taking right now because I am a huge horror movie nerd. I think that horror is super interesting, and we've been learning about the different technologies that horror media has evolved through, from like the mediums of the 19th century and the whole sexism of how mediums were treated, all the way up to learning about like early films and how like early horror special effects were done. So it is a film class, and at the same time, it's about understanding like what in the human mind scares us. Like, I'm so sorry for the dissonant sound my computer just made. I wrote one essay about the idea of how our like xenophobic tendencies as a country are very related to the ideas of what scares us in horror, because the number one thing that people fear is the unknown. So I have really loved that class because it's a film class, a rhetoric class, and because I am obnoxious, it's also a race, gender, and class class. So yeah, definitely a very good class. I know he's teaching like the rhetoric of horror films next fall, which is going to be more like watch a movie and analyze the horror rhetoric in it, which fingers crossed, I'm hoping for a C4. But yeah, I would love to turn it over to Georgie to hear how that class is going for her.
Yeah, I'm the complete opposite. I do not like horror films. I like everything else horror. I love haunted houses. I love Halloween. I like being scared. I like scaring people. But when it comes to anything like watching horror, I don't like it. But I did take the class and I really enjoyed it. Definitely, going off everything Margot said. Um, I just did my final paper about Slenderman and, the impact of how that was able to spread so quickly from social media. So that was pretty cool. It was nice to kind of debunk all the horror things and be like, no, that is not real, which only validated my feelings more, I think. But yeah, it was an awesome class for sure.
I just think it's so cool how we have a lot of students who are interested in film. You wouldn't think that film and CRS will intersect, but can you guys still hear me? My computer is a little weird message. Anyways, can you guys hear me? Okay, so I just think it's so cool how film and CRS will intersect, and we haven't even thought about that, and we have professors in-house who are actually exploring those ideas. Now, the one thing that you guys would share with your younger self, so as Margot was saying, what we fear is the unknown, and we have a lot of our students in the audience who are undecided, and we don't know what college will hold for them. So give us one piece of advice that you would share with your younger self when you were in their shoes. Let's go first. I see some questioning looks. I'll have Ajay go.
I think advice to my younger self would be it's okay to be confused and it's okay to ask questions. I know when I was applying to college in general, I was afraid to ask questions. I was afraid of deviating out of my comfort zone, but I asked the questions. Even coming into CRS, I asked questions. What is this about? What am I going to get out of this? And I feel that it's made me a better student and a better person because I never stopped learning even outside of the classroom. So keep asking questions. You will get the answers to those questions eventually, but keep asking questions, keep being curious about every step that you're going through, and it'll make you a better person.
George,
I would definitely tell my younger self that to trust your gut, that it's okay to be lost. Getting to college, you realize that everyone is also lost and nobody knows what they want to do, which is a very comforting feeling, in my opinion. So yeah, definitely trust your gut. Do what makes you happy. Do what you think is going to make you happy. Be your own leader. Don't follow people. I know. Don't feel, the need to meet other people's standards. I think that's what I would tell myself.
I would echo everything that Georgie and Ashni just said and just add, show yourself maybe 50% of the kindness and the empathy and the understanding that you show to other people around you every day. Stop holding yourself to an insane standard of being an insane, crazy, perfect person. And just like whoever is like hearing this, like you show so much empathy and so much care and so much love to the people in your life who you love. Treat yourself like a person you love. And that especially goes for the college process, because I know I was so hard on myself every step of the way. And it made it a very difficult few months, my college application process, because I was my own biggest antagonist. And you are the only thing you can control, and you can control not being your own biggest antagonist. So show yourself just like a little bit or a lot of the love and understanding and grace that you would show to someone you love.
one thing I've always heard is that the college process may seem scary right now, but you'll definitely end up where you're supposed to be. It seems the great unknown. You don't know where you're going to go. You choose the right college or the wrong college. You can always transfer, but just know that be patient with yourself and definitely end up where you're supposed to be. Because that was part of my story. I didn't know about Syracuse. I didn't even know Syracuse existed. I grew up in New York City, and my advisor recommended that I come to Syracuse, and it was the best decision that I ever made. So I never looked back. But change is fun. so that you can have some of our contact info. We can definitely sit here and talk about CRS and all the good things that comes out of this exact major. But if you want to get in contact with myself, like I said, my name is Iman Wilkinson. My email address is on the screen. And then if you want to be connected to any of our lovely ambassadors that we spoke with today, just send us an email to vpachat@syr.edu. If you have any questions about the application process, student life, we are here to be a resource for you. Don't hesitate to reach out. With that, thank you guys for coming tonight. And we really appreciate seeing you guys, and we'll be in touch. Have a great night.